How do I overcome the usual production delays after Chinese New Year?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to know that there will be production delays in and around the Chinese New Year, right? It's a time when everyone is leaving the factories and the cities and going back to their hometowns. And even before the COVID travel issues, Chinese New Year was a big issue. So most professional buyers that have purchased from China for more than a year or two know this is coming. They have some open lines of communication with the supplier to plan accordingly. Get your production done, build in a couple months of lead time. If you're dealing with something that's time sensitive, like fashion that has seasons, it does get tight. But if you're dealing in electronics or a product that maybe doesn't change every year, you can build in some lead times and some margin and a little bit of padding. It's easier than it sounds, but probably in my experience, the single most effective thing that I did was to put contracts in place that have a pre-agreed penalty for every day that the lead time is missed. So I wasn't always the biggest buyer with my Chinese suppliers, but I was often the most professional in terms of putting together documentation and contracts so that if, God forbid, Disney comes in and places an order for stuffed toys that's 10,000 units and mine is only 3,000 units, if you don't have that contract, rest assured that the supplier is going to take the big buyer first and get that out the door for Chinese New Year. So I would get those calls from the supplier or an email at the last minute say, hey, Mike, you know how busy it is around Chinese New Year and we're thinking about closing up early, and you mind if we ship a month late? And my answer would be, well, you know what? I was a little bit worried about this, so I built in a month padding, and that's fine. But I'd like to call your attention to the contract, which states that for every week that you're delayed, I get a 3% discount. And I wouldn't mind that discount. So take your time, by all means. What happens? It ships right away before Chinese New Year. So having a contract with pre-agreed penalties helps get you puts you at the front of the line when production gets tight.